Welcome to the Kingdom Athletes podcast. I'm your host, Sam Gonzalez. Today, I'm joined by a man who has become a very good friend of mine, really just a brother in the faith. He is a goalie, so he's near and dear to my heart for that sense. We have the first hockey goalie on the podcast, so super excited about that. He plays for the Evansville Thunderbolts, the one, the only Talor Joseph. Thank you for joining the Kingdom Athletes podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, Sam. Excited to do this with you.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We've been talking about it for quite some time, and the season's wrapped up. Did you see that? The mic just turned foul.
Oh yeah,
For anybody
no,
just
that's right.
listening, my mic just completely turned away. Um, yeah, been a long time coming. We've been talking about this for a while, and the season's wrapped up for you, and it wrapped up in the best way possible. It's been quite the season, but I'll let you get into that. And so, yeah, as we kind of just jump into this first segment here, I would love for you to share your story, how you got to where you are playing pro hockey, and then really just how your faith has been a huge part of that, getting you to where you are now. And so, I'll kind of let you take the floor.
Yeah, no, thanks, Sam. I think a big thing for me is in my hockey journey. It started a little later on in life. About 8 years old, I started playing hockey, which is late in Canada. My dad was a football basketball guy, and he wanted me to kind of go follow, I think, in his footsteps. But being in Canada with hockey's king here, so eventually he let me play, and the thing for me, I guess I my whole life I was always kind of looked after, like what's the word? Sorry, looked over. I'd
Yeah.
say looked over on teams. So I never really got opportunity too much. And then eventually did finally make a AAA team. I think I was 16 when I finally made my first AAA team. Wasn't playing house league or anything like that, and didn't go the best it possibly could, but I think for me the common theme was, and even once I got to juniors, that I was always battling, like always, like I never thought I'd make a junior A team and made it, and it's just by the grace of God. And I think if we got into, that's a whole other, like that would be a hour story. But I think the common theme is just I'd always had never had the opportunity, and God would just always kind of figure it out and find a path for me. But it was difficult, and definitely my younger years for that. And then if he would have told me I'd be playing pro when I was 14, 15, I probably would have laughed at you.
Yeah.
So
So were you always a goalie? Like when you came in at 8 years old, were you a goalie?
yeah, I came in, I was my first year, I started as a player, could barely skate really.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the year, I was actually the leading scorer on my team, which it
Yeah.
was a house league team, whatever. And then just end up being a goalie midway through because no one else really wanted to play.
Yeah.
Then me and a really close family friend, me and him were the goalies. We'd play out one game and then we'd rotate back and forth. So that's kind of the way I actually decided to become a goalie. I was waiting on him to decide what he was going to be, and he decided to be a goalie. So then I like just followed him and did the same thing. Other If he would have been a player, I'd have been a player. So like
Yeah.
it's kind of just funny at 8 years old how you make those decisions. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was
Well,
pretty
it's a good
pretty
thing
cool.
looking back, it's a good thing he picked goalie, huh?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, 100%.
very similar to how I ended up being a goalie because same deal, house team in one of the towns next to me, and it was back when nobody was like solidified as the goalie, so they just had the shared
Oh
pads that
yeah,
everybody would kind of rotate
yeah.
through. And what happened was I loved skating out and I loved scoring and all of that, but what happened was the first time they put me in pads, I remember that feeling of stopping the puck and the look on the person's face of like, I can't believe you stopped that. And that it was game over at that point. Then I was like, oh, I really like this. I'm gonna stick with this. Yeah.
Well, 100%. I think my first game I let in nine because I wasn't on a great team, but I
Yeah.
loved it. Like
Yeah.
I just remember, like my parents thought there was no way. Like after they're like, oh, he won't want to be a goalie.
Yeah.
And I think when I came off the ice, they were shocked because that's like I couldn't stop smiling. And
Yeah.
I think that's when you kind of know like that's when it's for you, when you're able to
Yeah.
let in nine or ten and still be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it
goalies
was
really
good.
are built different. I know like in hockey
Yeah.
culture, we're we're always kind of laughed at as being the weird ones. And
Yeah.
there's a level to it where there's definitely
Mhm.
you have to have a little bit off with you to willingly get in front of the puck that often, and have that be what
Yeah.
you're doing.
100%.
But yeah, I have found that for everybody who ended up playing goalie, it was it was almost immediately that they knew this is my spot. I belong between the pipes
Yeah.
here. Yeah. So for you to give up 9 and be like this was the best thing ever is
Yeah.
such a
No.
goalie thing.
It's typical goalie.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Try not to admit that, but
Yeah. Hey, it happens to the best of us. But
yeah.
yeah. So,
Oh, just being weird as a goalie. That's try not to admit that part
oh,
of it.
that part.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, it when the shoe fits, Um
Yeah.
but yeah, so you made your first junior A team and then kind of bring us through those teenage years and then into, the college years and then as you get into pro.
Yeah, so I think through those junior years, like I remember I finally like I wasn't supposed to make that one team. It was right out of I ended up playing junior B instead of midget triple A my second year, which is kind of where I'm from, not like a great spot to be in, like
Hmm.
to pursue a junior A career. Just junior B wasn't as respected where I was from. So I remember I get cut from the junior A team I tried out from. I'm looking for any team, and one team was like, "Hey Taylor, like you can come just skate with us until you find a team." I was like, "Okay, like what does this mean? Like, is it an opportunity? Is it not?" So I end up going just because it was what I had at the time. So me and my mom would drive 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back every day for 2 weeks, just for me to try out for this team. And at the end of the day, I end up getting an opportunity. I remember watching one of their games because he eventually said, like, we're gonna have to part ways. Like, you're gonna have to, it's either you're staying or we're gonna let you go. And he had to make a decision. So I remember I was watching them on the road and the goal ended up getting pulled. Like, and like, you never cheer against somebody like to do bad at ever, but he ended up getting pulled and, they lost the game pretty bad. So then I went for practice the next day and he ended up giving me a call and or no, sorry, we talked in the office and he was like, "Yeah, you're Taylor. You're gonna get one game. If you get the win, you're gonna stay. If you lose, we're gonna part ways." So I was like, "Okay,
Gosh.
no pressure at all."
No,
Yeah, no
not a
pressure
big
at all.
deal.
Thanks.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I just remember I was like almost like so thankful to get the opportunity. I was almost and like I never thought I'd play junior A too,
Hmm.
especially if you knew what I'd come from. I never thought I'd play junior A. And so I remember almost like in tears in the tunnel, like getting ready to go out and stuff. And like it was just a huge deal. And then I remember first shot goes in, tip from the slot goes in. And then after that, we end up winning in overtime against one of the top teams. And yeah, just by the grace of God, just getting the opportunity. Like he always kind of had me exactly where I was supposed to be. And you don't really see it at the time. But
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
fast forward past that year.
I'm gonna
Oh,
ask
sorry.
you to
Yeah, go ahead,
I'm
sir.
gonna ask you
Yeah.
to slow
All
down for
right.
a minute because there's a couple of
Yeah.
things I want to hit on. First, you drove 2.5 hours one way for practice.
Yeah.
So shout
Yeah,
out
with my
to the
mom.
parents for
Yeah.
doing that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's massive. And that's so many athletes where they wouldn't be where they are without their parents or their family and loved ones.
Yeah.
And a 2.5 hour trip is no joke. That's a send
No.
in one direction. You're talking 5 hours of travel just for you to get to the ice and get home.
Yeah, and it's crazy. My parents did that twice for me. I remember the year, 2 years before that, I'd play trip when I finally made triple A.
Hmm.
It was 2.5 hours away from home
Yeah.
as well, the opposite direction. But I remember like I was trying out for like 2, 3 weeks. Like every day, my parents would. I was in high school. They'd pick me up early out of school so I could make it in time for
Hmm.
practice. And like I remember just every day we are just driving 2.5 hours there, 2.5 back, and like just the things they would do like
Yeah.
for me, just yeah, can't say enough.
Yeah.
So
Unreal. Yep. Solid.
yeah,
Solid play by the parents there because had
yeah,
they not done that and saw the potential in you and just your love for the
yeah.
game, we wouldn't be sitting here being able to talk about the things that God has
No,
been doing in your life. And so that's massive. So you do all that travel to get this opportunity and then the opportunity itself is presented to you in a pretty wild way. Win or you're done. Like opportunity
yeah,
is gone. And then you said the first shot went in off a tip.
Yeah, it was a tip in the slot. I remember like I was going one way, tipped the opposite. I was like, okay, great, great
Yeah.
start.
And for
And
anybody
like I
who doesn't understand how difficult it is to stop a tip, it's completely changing the direction of the puck and you're almost guessing where it's
yeah,
going. And so, yeah, totally not on you. How did you rally? Because you have this
I
pressure going into it. First goal goes in. How did you not crumble under that pressure?
I think I just knew that the opportunity, like God has opened, like, and this happened a few times in my career now, but I think that was the first time like God warming me up for like what I'd go through in life, and it's just like I think it almost just settled me in, and I just felt like, okay, like, you know what, God has me here for a reason. Like I think the devil does whatever he can to destroy what God brings and what he does for us, and it could have been a little attack, but I just knew that God had me there for a reason, and I just had to be just quick mind, quick reset, and go to work.
Yeah,
So
that's so
and
good.
trust that He has me there for a reason.
That's so good. Just trusting that you're there because God put you in that opportunity and then you're just going to do what you can. I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. All right. So I'll
yeah,
let you continue. Pick up from where you left off.
yeah. So I'll go. I'll try to get through this part quick, to get into the pro, but the pro stuff. But with after that, I finally make that team. Things are going well. I start to kind of take the starting position over. I end up getting traded because we had two really good goalies. And so I go, it's not a good fit where I get to. They don't really want me. I think the GM had a certain idea, the coach had another idea. They didn't really want me, or the coach didn't really want me. So I end up trying to leave and go back to the team I was with. They don't have any room for me. So like I remember it was like an hour or so before the deadline, didn't have any team, like the trade deadline, didn't have any team to go to. So I'm like thinking I'm gonna be done for the year. And then out of nowhere, I get a call from a team in Ontario, like not a greatest league. I'd never heard of the SIJHL. It wasn't a like I my thoughts like it's not a great league, and it's gone maybe down a little bit now. But I remember I just said, hey, like God's opening the door. I gotta go. Like this is like 2 minutes of deadline. Don't have anything else. And so we end up going. Um, just got on a plane and got picked up by the coaches. And then I remember like it was a God thing. Like at first, I went on a 10 game win streak when I got there. Got top 3 stars in Canada, top goalie in the league for the month or whatever. And then yeah, we just went right into playoffs. I think we went from third play or fourth place to second place, and we end up losing to the team that was second, number two in Canada, in game 6 in double overtime. And it was just like God just completely opened the door for me, and I was able to just go off, and it was pretty neat because like going there, you don't think anything good's gonna come of it. Like it's not a really respected league in Canada. Like it's you're not gonna this no one's gonna look at you, no one's gonna watch you or anything. But I end up having Division 1 schools coming to watch me there just because of how it was going. And so like that's the thing when sometimes you just got to be obedient. If God's telling you to go somewhere, you just do it because you don't know what's going to be on the other side of it. And like He can turn anything into something useful for you, right? Or something good or something for His will. So, yeah. So that's I end up going there. We lost in double overtime. Had a really good year, and then end up getting traded to a team in Manitoba who was hosting nationals in 2 years. So I went there my 19 year, had a really solid year, and then my 20-year-old year, we're the number one team in Canada. I think we have like 4 losses all year. I end up tearing my meniscus in January in rebound, like in practice, which is a little game we play like before practice sometimes, and I'm out for the rest of the season. Like have to get surgery. So I lose my team's hosting nationals, so I miss out on that. We end up winning nationals. I couldn't be a part of it really. Um, I lose all my scholarship opportunities. I had a bunch of Division 1 schools and stuff, everything. So you lose everything, and like I wanted it so bad at that moment in my life. Like, I remember in the summer I'd watch videos on like the national, like on the RBC Cup, and like just see what it was like, and like just like get so excited to do it, and then all of it gone in a second. So that was a lot of learning there, and like I kind of got pretty angry with God at that time, and like didn't want to have anything to do with him, and he had to work some things out in me as well. I think wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't go through that stuff today. I wouldn't be that person I needed to be. And then exactly a year after that, I'm playing college in Edmonton, like not really happy with where I'm at. And then I get hit by a drunk driver that spring. So this is almost a year after. So like I'm like, it's been like I lose everything, and then I'm finally starting to get healthy. I'm transferring to a decent school, like a school in Ontario, which is U Sports, which is pretty good hockey. And then right before like to start training for the summer, hit by a drunk driver, got done for the rest of the summer. Like couldn't train. I think a week before school started, I was able to train. So there's just so much going on at that time that I was just like, what are you doing, God? Like I didn't even know if I believed in them, to be honest. I was just like, I think I was just wanting to rebel, and like I was pissed at them, and I couldn't believe it, but everything happened for a reason. So
Yeah. Well, that's a lot stacked at once.
yeah, that's I want. It's a
Yeah.
lot of just because you're so young too.
Mhm.
Like I didn't understand the importance of like I had a relationship, I believe, with Christ, but like it was kind of like when I wanted it, like it was more about all I could get out of
Mm.
the game, like what I
Yeah.
could get out of it. Like this is my dream, um, and I think it slowed me down, A, and B, it humbled me, um, and then I think I honestly think if everything would have been perfect and I would have went NCAA at the time and did like I wouldn't be who I am today. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't be who I am. So
Well,
I
that
wouldn't change a thing.
perspective, yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
perspective is everything. And for you to say you wouldn't change a thing is
Yeah.
proof that God used that season to
Yeah.
build the character for you to be the man of God that you are today.
Yeah.
And for
No,
you to get
100%.
injured, to have your season end playing a game that's not even like the main part of practice.
Yeah.
It's not even a main drill. Like rebound is one of those games that everybody kind of plays just goofing around either, at the end of
Yeah.
practice type of thing. And for that to be what leads to the injury, you're you're kind of stripped from having the opportunity to play on the biggest stage, win the natty,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. And then as you're recovering, then to get hit by a drunk driver, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I remember you sharing
Yeah.
about the injury, but not the drunk driver. That's a whole nother level to it because that's not even hockey related. That's just
Yeah. No.
wrong place, wrong
Life.
time, life,
Yeah.
and you get hit by a drunk driver. Um, Man, but that perspective, I know so much of what God has done in your life, and I'm excited to get into that stuff. But for you to have, you said this was you were 20 when this was happening.
Yeah, like 20 the knee injury and then 21 the drunk driver.
Yeah, so those young
Yeah.
adult years, God
Yeah.
is molding you to have the character that He wants you to have, so that you could step into the opportunities that would be coming your way, but you would have the impact that
Hmm.
he would want you to have. Because I should have said this when I introduced you, because I was thinking about this earlier. Obviously a hockey goalie, but I almost wanted to say this man is an evangelist who happens to play pro hockey, because that's how you carry yourself. So yeah, let's get into that. So you have this perspective change. God humbles you, really kind of puts you back together, and then where are you at from there?
Yeah, so I think university was I finally got an opportunity my last couple of years in university. End up transferring to do my master's at Trinity Western University, which is a Christian university in Langley here in British Columbia. And I end up it's a new program. They're U Sports, but they're new to U Sports, so it's like it's going to be a little bit tougher just because you're going up a level. So like I just wanted to help be a part of starting the program, and got to play with my brother, one of my brothers too, as well, which is pretty cool. But it was a tough year. I think we only had 2 wins that year. Goalies took a punishment every night, but it was good. It made me a lot better. And I remember later that year, I was during COVID and everything, but I got an opportunity with the Abbotsford Canucks in the American League and the Toronto Marlies. And if you would have asked me if I would have had that being that year, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But just because of how our team was doing, I always believed I could you're curious, you want to try an opportunity. Obviously, everybody wants an opportunity to play and see where you stand, and I was fortunate to get that later that year. So, but yeah, like it was just a God thing. Like I remember, I was waiting to my season was finished. We didn't make playoffs that year, and this is in January. I'd been called out to Abbotsford and had spent some time with the team practicing and stuff, and went did really well. And then I just remember I finished school here, or finished. Our team was finished. We didn't make playoffs. We were done like February, mid February. So I was we they took the ice out of our rink during the as soon as we were done because there's a basketball tournament or something. So I had no ice. So I remember I was just working out every day, like just trying to stay out. Like I had a VR, like just trying to stay sharp and for when pro opportunities had come. And I just remember like a few opportunities in the Southern Professional League and the East Coast had like kind of fell through. Like I thought I was getting a flight booked, didn't end up happening, whatever. But I just remember going out for the night before I got the call. I was with my goalie partner. He's like, Taylor, like, don't worry, you'll be fine. Like God's in control. Like he knows exactly where he has you. And I just had peace about it. I remember praying that night and just felt peace. I don't know why, but I just felt peace. And then I remember I was working for one of my good friends here. He owns a catering company. He sponsored our team at Trinity Western, and I was just helping him out. Um, and I end up getting a text. And it's like, this is so and so from the Toronto Marlies. Like, we'd like you to back up this weekend, and there's a possibility you might be coming out with us. Like, whatever. Like, let me know if you're available. So I just remember, like, yeah. So I stopped what I was doing. I was doing a delivery for him, and got back. I was scrambling to get home because I had to be in Abbotsford by 5. It's like 1:30 now. It's an hour to where I was, an hour and a half to Abbotsford. I'm ripping. I'm my girlfriend, which is now my wife, that is was helping me like pack my stuff, like get me out the door. I had food. Um, my the caterer, the guy I was working for, made me a plate of pregame food that I could just take with me and go. I hadn't been drinking really water that day. Like I'm just kind because I'm working. I'm like whatever. So I get to I'm driving and I just have peace. Like I just feel peace. I'm worshiping God. I have worshiping His God. I'm just thanking Him for the opportunity. I have peace. I get to the rink, and this is so God. Like the whole situation is God. Um, I'm getting into the rink. I'm walking in. The trainers grab my bags for me. They have the Toronto Maple Leafs game on the trainers table because they're in Boston. We're in BC. There's 3 hour difference. Playing Boston. As I'm walking by, I see Mrazek get just dummied by somebody on Boston, probably Marchand.
Yeah.
Just gets hit. He's out. So that they're taking him off the ice, and all the trainers say, "He's like, oh, that's not good." I'm like, yeah, it sucks. That sucks. I have no idea, like completely over my head.
Yeah.
So then they give me my stuff. I'm getting ready. The GM comes in about an hour before warm up, and he's like, "Hey Taylor, the coaches want to meet you." So I walk in the office, and the coach is like, "Hey Taylor, nice to meet you. You're starting tonight." And I'm just like, I just start laughing. I'm like, kind of like laughing, like, "Yeah, you're like that's funny." Like I thought, who knows? Like I'm like, and then he's like, "No, like you got to start. Like Mrazek got hurt. We got to send Hutchinson up right away. We can't risk him getting hurt. So you're our guy tonight." So he's like, "Make the most of the opportunity, enjoy it, have fun." And for me, and I'm thinking like the devil just attacked quick. I haven't been on the ice in 6 weeks. Like, is our team like we lost our ice? So I've been just working out and like doing VR, doing sensory. So I end up. I just remember I go in the bathroom like in the rink somewhere and like call my dad, like almost not in tears, but like fearful, but peace is the same. It was a weird feeling because it's just like there's so much going on. I'm getting the opportunity I've always wanted. But I had like there's circumstances that say I shouldn't do good and that I shouldn't go well. And we just prayed and I just felt peace. And warm ups was okay. Like I felt a little rusty because it'd been so long. Then like by the end of warm ups I felt good. And then yeah, we get into the game and I think they put on 18 shots on me in the first period and soft all of them and we got up to a 3-0 lead the first. So I'm like, okay. So we end up it was a really close game. They made a little bit of a pushback in the third, made it 3-2, I think, and then we made it 4-2, and then I stopped the breakaway with like 5 minutes left to keep it. a one goal game, and then we scored an empty netter, and I got an assist on the empty net goal. So it was kind of like I
Yeah.
end up getting first star of the game and um, a player of the game for my team. And yeah, it was just I just remember going to bed that night. Like I had such a bad headache, like such a bad migraine after the game because
Mm,
I didn't drink enough water at all
yeah.
throughout the day, and I just remember going to bed and waking up the next day like this actually just happened, like and just in the fashion it did. And yeah, I was just so thankful. And then I end up starting the next night, and we end up winning, and we had a it was a great game, and yeah, I beat a goalie that was had 3 losses on the season.
Mm,
He was up and down the NHL, and yeah, it was just like it was all God, like just
yeah.
everything, like
You
and yeah,
you
it was
realize this is
crazy.
like a movie, right? You go from a catering job where you're delivering food to getting a
Yeah,
text to then finishing your job and having 6 hours before you need to get where you got to get
yeah,
to
and just
then
like
starting in an American
yeah,
Hockey League game, winning. Unreal what God will do
yeah,
when you're patient and you trust him
yeah,
and you know that he has a plan. And shout
yeah,
out to your goalie partner who had shared with you like it's going to be all right. God's got
yeah,
you. And then for all of
yeah.
this to unfold the way that it did, that's unreal.
Yeah, and like even before like my call ups were meant like I just like it didn't make sense that I wasn't getting them before. Like they were
Yeah.
lower leagues in the like the East Coast League and the SPHL. They're a little lower than the A, obviously, but like it was just like they didn't make sense that I wasn't getting them. And but then it's like God had a bigger plan, right? So I just
Yeah.
had to trust him and know he was in control.
Yeah.
And yeah, he came through as he always does.
100%.
So
Always. Because had any of those other opportunities gone the way that they were supposed to go, you wouldn't have been available for that.
I wouldn't. No, no. So God had me in the right place, right time, and yeah, it was a blessing. So yeah, it was amazing. And then the crazy part is so I end up signing with a Southern Professional team like right after that, and I had some advice from an agent that I should just go to the SP, like not go to East Coast League camp and just solidify a starting job there and then move up that way. So yeah, it didn't go the way planned. On the way to camp that year, one of my best friend, his dad passed away. So
Mm.
I was halfway through my trip going out there to North Carolina, and then got a call, and then end up turning around and helped him. And I called the coach and said, "Hey, like I'm not gonna be able to make it for camp. Like this just happened. I got to be there. He's like family." And coach didn't really want me to go, but I just kind of like it was bigger than hockey. So and God just put on my heart to really I had to be back there for my friend. And so end up going back, end up getting to camp a week and a half late. And on my way up, he told me to call him on my way up, and I called him, and I'm like 10 hours away from there, like in the middle of nowhere. And he's like, "Hey, like we're probably gonna go a different direction now." And I was just like a little bit surprised. I'm like, "Hey, like I'm on my way. Like at least let me come skate." And they end up keeping me. I drove 18 hours, had a really good skate, my first skate, and they ended up keeping me for a bit. But then they had another goalie drop down from the East Coast League, and I was gone. So I'm a little confused. But I get a call right away from a team that seemed really interested and really wanted me, and then end up getting there. I think I had 2 practices, missed the games because I'd been out for so long. He wanted to give me a full week of practice, and then the goalies did okay that played that weekend, so they ended up letting me go. So then I'm like on the chase. So I go to a um, coach and friend Jeff Balker. He's at Liberty University. Went and stayed with him and practiced with the team for a week, and then ended up getting a call to East Coast League. Looked like a good opportunity, and then the guy that thought I might be replacing ended up beating the top team in the league. That was like 10-0 in a shootout that night, and then went to overtime the next night, and then a goalie drops from the American League the week after. So like I'm doing great, having a good, it's doing really well in practice, but then just wrong place, wrong time, like didn't get the opportunity, and then end up getting let go to another SPHL team. They go on when I get there, they go on a 14 game win streak, and I don't touch the net. So, like, I think I went in for 5 minutes one game, and, because our goalie got in a fight, and that was it, and then end up getting let go when their goalie comes back, and then I have really nothing. Like, I got picked up by a team. I was in the spot that I was with. They picked me up because their goalie left. The coach I told the coach, like, "Hey, like, I'm not gonna come unless I'm, like, legit getting an opportunity," and he said, "Yeah, yeah, you're gonna get an opportunity." And then, end up moving 18 hours to go to the team, and, the next day, like, have a phenomenal practice. I'm like, "I need a solidify spot here." I had a phenomenal practice, and then he ends up letting me go because he trades for a guy he wants to really bad. So I end up I remember I was praying and journaling that morning that I got let go. I remember God telling me, like, 'cause I'd gotten a call from a federal prospect soccer league team, which is like, if anybody knows about the Fed, it has a um, worse rap than actually is. It isn't as bad as people say it is. It's still fun hockey, like you get to play a game you love, but it's not where I wanted to be necessarily. And I remember like I just going from where I was the year prior at the end of the year, like starting the American Hockey League, getting a win, doing so well to going to the worst league in North America. I was just like, I just did not. I remember telling God, telling me like you're gonna go, and I just said no. So I ran to Nashville. I had a buddy living in Nashville, kind of a Jonah situation.
Yeah.
Ran the opposite direction, and just waited for a month there. I was living with them and skating and staying in shape, working out, and but nothing was coming. I knew I had to go down, but I just wasn't ready yet, and didn't hadn't humbled myself enough to go, and wasn't trusting God there because I thought like if I went there, my career would be over. And so I finally had there's nothing happening. I'm running out of funds because I haven't been paid in a while. And I got another call from a federal team. I just remember in tears, like surrendering to God and just be like, "Hey, I guess this I'm gonna do it. Like, if you want me to go, I'm gonna go." And I really had to posture my heart to go because I was at first not happy about going. I was pretty disappointed. Um, but I knew God had a reason for it, and I had to posture my heart to. It's not about hockey. I love hockey, and I'm gonna go as far as I can. And I've realized that it's my dream. The NHL came knocking tomorrow. Obviously, I'm taking it. But I had to surrender that, like, hockey is my missions field. It's not I my identity is not wrapped in hockey. I'm not just a hockey player. It's something God's blessed me with the ability to do, and hockey is my missions field. So wherever He needs me to go, I have to accept that regardless of how it looks and trust. And I've learned that that is the best way to go. At that time, I wasn't completely ready for that, but I was able to be obedient and posture my heart to be able to reach out to people and show them Christ, and God just did some amazing things. In Binghamton, I was able to get a chapel program started, led a couple guys to Christ, and by the end we had
Let's
like 10
go.
guys coming to chapel. Yeah, so it was, and then like and end up having like on top of that, like spiritually things were going so well. I was able to I think I went 10-2 when I got there and then did really well in playoffs. And so hockey went well, but more importantly, like the spiritual side of things, like it went well. By the end of it, I'd pray after games at one of the face-off dots, neutral zone, and by the end of it, like I had teammates praying with me, and then there'd be like hundreds of fans at the bottom, like coming and putting their hands on the glass, praying as well. And it was just really powerful. And somewhere for Binghamton, where maybe it's not the biggest spiritual place, like it's kind of rougher but around the edges, like amazing people, but a little bit rougher around the edges. And just to see people like really appreciate the prayers and to join me doing that, like it was just a really cool opportunity and moment. And there's a couple fans there that asked me what I was doing, like asked if they could come to church with me. They ended up coming to church and opened up that like they were suicidal and like wanting to take their life that next couple weeks, and end up going to church and completely turning it around and getting help they needed. And so like God had me there for a reason.
He sure did.
And yeah,
And
yeah, that
I
was
want to slow down just a second because wow. Like you just shared so much, but for you to we'll get to where you're what you're talking about now, but I just want to go back to the season that you were in, of where you were at the high of playing in the American Hockey League, and then just kind of being bounced around, like just listening to you talk about it. For anybody watching or listening, they're probably like, "Oh my gosh, this guy was like given an opportunity, then let go. Given an opportunity, then let go." And for you to just remain steadfast that God has a plan for you is, it's so inspiring, because this is what I've learned now, being, kind of in the Christian sports space, is that the goal is always to get to the pro levels. That I would say, like, the average person doesn't fully grasp how difficult it is to stay at the pro levels, and how few opportunities there are. And so you're just looking for these opportunities, and it seems like they're being pulled out from under you. But man, for you to just stay as steadfast as you were is so inspiring. And for you to be, I mean, you're saying little things. I'm picking up on the little things. You're talking about praying and journaling. That's massive. If somebody were to just take that away from what you're sharing, what it looks like to, regardless of what the circumstances are in your life, the opportunities you're getting, the opportunities you don't feel like you're getting, but for you to run to God in those things, and to be praying, and to be writing down what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and just pouring your heart out. I mean, that's what David did. That's why we have all the Psalms, right? And so you're doing that, and as you're doing that, it may not be going the way that you would want it to. You're kind of have, like you said, you
No.
have this Jonah moment where you're even kind of
Yeah.
running away from where God is sending you and where you feel like he's sending you. But then you finally go, you surrender to it. You're in the Fed, and for you to have 10 guys on your team going to chapels, that's half the team. That that in and of itself is amazing. You got guys who put their faith in Jesus. Unbelievable. That's why I said you're an evangelist who plays hockey, right? Because you're there, you're sharing the good news, you're sharing your faith, and then to have fans lined around the glass praying, and then for fans to go to church with you and to be vulnerable and open up, like, unbelievable what God has done in your life and is doing in your life, man. But I didn't want to just like
Yeah.
speed
The
past
biggest
that.
Yeah. No, thank you for doing that. I think the biggest thing that I had to learn was just surrendering to, like, I'd always had a little hand my hands in things, like, I'd surrender, but at the same time, I'm doing whatever I can to get what I need to get
Mm,
for my hockey career, but I had to realize that, like, I just had to surrender. Wherever God wanted me, I had to go, and it took me a little bit. Like, Binghamton was the first step, and, like, God always built the cool thing about God is he's always shown me why I've gone somewhere, and he's always delivered me somewhere where it was, no, it didn't look good, I needed to go there, and he worked it out. He ended up, like, progressing me further than I could have progressed myself, even, like, when it looked very impossible and it didn't look like I'd ever be going up again, like, he was able to, do something, and that built my faith as well. So now I'm at the point where, like, if he tells me to go somewhere, I just gotta go and trust. And so we that year in Binghamton really well. Like, I was the guy. Like, so, like, I always thought, like, I'd always have like a that would be a really good backup to be in Binghamton. And so, like, that season ends. I end up signing in the off season late with Peoria, which is like one of the top teams in the Southern Professional Hockey League, and seemed like a good opportunity. I got there and did well in camp, but both goalies end up coming back from like their East Coast League camps, and I get kicked out. So my I it's really hard to, you don't make an SPHL team out of camp. It's really hard to make it somewhere else as anywhere, because it's goalies, if especially if they do well, like, it's they're gonna go coaches are gonna go with who they have had for camp and give them a shot. So I got let go from Peoria. I head back to Binghamton, and Binghamton ends up they know I want to get called up, and they kind of wanted me to stay for the year. Like, they didn't want anybody going up and down. So they end up, like, letting me go because they're like, "Hey, like, we think that we have goalies that are committed to stay here for the year, and we're comfortable with them." They had a really good team, and so they end up moving me, and I end up going to Columbus, who was a top team in the league in the other division. And so I'm excited to go. At the same time, like, I was set in Binghamton. I was the guy. Like I was a little bit like unsure what Columbus would be like, and I go to Columbus and things go really well. We're the top team in the league. I think I'm 10-0-1 or 10-0-2. And then in January I get goalie of the month of the league. And then but I'm looking at call-ups. I want to get called up so bad and nothing's working out. So I'm like, it's okay. Like I'm gonna win a championship with this team. We're the top team in the league. And then I get hurt in January after getting the goalie of the month. So I'm out for 8 weeks with a groin injury, and I finally get healthy, come back, and then the trade deadline is like right there when I get back. So I remember like I had thought there was no way I'm getting traded. Like I just got goalie of the month or a couple months prior. Like I'm healthy. Like the team's going to run. Like think there's no way they're trading me. And so I get a call, like didn't know realize it was trade deadline day like this. So like thinking I'm set and I'm fine. So I get a call from the owner that day, an hour before the deadline. He's like, "Hey, like we have 3 good goalies, we can only keep 2. We don't wanna trade you, but, like, you're like, I guess I was the only goalie that teams were inquiring about. They're like, "We're gonna have to let one of you guys go. We're comfortable with you, the 3 of you. We have a really good team, but you have value. We can get something for you." So he's like, "I'll give you the option. If you wanna get traded, you can. If not, then you can battle it out and see which 3 we pick." So I remember saying, "Absolutely not. Like, I'm not leaving. Like, we're the top team. Like, I wanna win. We're projected to win." And then I just remember calling my dad because I felt conflicted, and he's like, "Well, did you pray about it?" I'm like, "Well, no, not yet. It's kind of like an hour. I don't have much time." He's like, "Taylor, pray about it. Read, get in the Word." So I remember I opened up my Bible app because I was at the rink at the time, and the verse of the day was like I think it was I forget what it was. It was a verse in Mark, but it was "Go among the nations and spread the gospel" was the verse. Right there, I'm like, "It's my time to leave." I already knew right then and there. Part of me still didn't want to. I was trying to position myself so I didn't. Then I remember talking to the owners, like, "Yeah, I think it'd be good for you," and like it kind of solidified that it's my time to move. I remember I'm driving. I leave. I get traded. I'm driving to Danbury, which is a 16-hour drive, and I remember just praying, I'm like, "God, like, please show me why you're going taking me here. It doesn't make sense right now, but I trust you and I surrender because I've learned just to surrender to him." And I remember day one, we're doing a power play PK drill in practice. So like half the team's doing power play on the one end, and then the other half's waiting. Once the puck gets stumped down, then this half goes. And we're waiting, and then a young kid comes up to me, like D man. He's like, "Hey, like I heard you're a Christian, man. Like I just became a Christian like a month or two ago. Like super excited to have you." And so I was doing some help in the office with Danbury, and like lo and behold, the other guy that's in there working with me, the only other guy on the team is this guy. So we just really, for the couple months I was there, like we really like just like he was so hungry in his faith, and we dove into everything, and we were sharpening each other, and like iron sharpens iron, and this is how you and I get connected. I try to get a chapel program started everywhere I go, and I reached out to HMI, my chaplain from North Bay, and when I was at Nipissing University, and he gets me connected with somebody that gets me connected with you. So I remember we were able to get chapel started, and guys were coming, and then by the end of the year, the cool part, we got to baptize Frank in the cold tub, that hockey player that came up to me the day one. So it was a pretty neat experience able to do that,
Yeah, it was
and
hands down
yeah,
in all my years of ministry. It's one of the coolest things that God has given me the opportunity to be a part of. To see a guy so hungry to grow in his faith, to get baptized in the cold tub. That's
yeah,
unreal. It was amazing. And as you're just sharing it, and I know it's leading to you getting to Danbury, I'm just thinking, there's no doubt one of those reasons that God was moving you to Danbury was that you and I would become brothers and have the
yeah,
relationship that we now have, and just be able to encourage each other in our faith. So
yeah.
I'm grateful that you were obedient, because if you
Oh,
weren't, this never would have been happening. But even
oh,
just all of the the phone calls and times that we have prayed with and for each other over these last 2 years has been such a blessing to me. So I'm grateful for your obedience, and I know that um, God has done so much. So yeah, let's just pick up to where this season was for you, because Danbury wraps up, and that was kind of, the baptism was the capstone of that season. That was
Yeah,
like the last day of the season for you guys, and then
yeah,
everybody went home. You and I kept in touch over the summer. I knew there were some opportunities that may be presenting themselves. So share
yeah,
what took place for you this season, and what God did.
yeah. So I think so to end in Danbury, the one cool thing, which was like I ended up not even playing in playoffs either. So I would like with my injury, I think I was about 85%. I wasn't 100%, and the goalie partner I had in Danbury was doing really well at the time, and so he was playing in playoffs, and so I didn't even play in playoffs, which is like the year before I did really well. This year I wasn't, and like so I'm thinking like, oh, this might not be good for my hockey. Like I don't know how I'm gonna move on if I'm not even playing in playoffs here right now. And then I remember just trusted God with it, and he knew my desires. I wanted to move up, um, get back to the Southern Professional Hockey League, and so remember that summer I was getting married, so I was completely a lot of my focus was on that. Like usually I'm calling coaches all the time and like on them and trying to figure out a spot. And like I didn't have as much time. I kind of just surrendered it to God and like was working on the wedding, training for hockey, obviously. And then I'd made some calls. So I remember I called one of my good buddies was had played for the new coach in Knoxville. And so I called the new coach there. I knew they were completely going a different direction from the year before, and had a really good coach call with the coach. And I remember he just said like, "Hey, like I gotta find out. We have a goalie that has been here for a few years. He's supposed to be in the East Coast League, but we don't exactly know what he's doing." So he's like, "I gotta wait." So I was like waiting probably a month or two, like just to see what was going on there. I talked to another team in Quad City, and the coach was awesome there too, and he was looking to give me an opportunity. So when I end up making the decision, I got offered from both of them, which was like amazing, which I was super excited. Didn't see that really coming, but God opened those doors, and I remember making my decision. The Quad City option was the safer route, I'd say, because in Knoxville, I didn't know if this goalie would come back and then kick me out, right? Because they'd already signed a goalie that was solidified in the league, and then they were still waiting to see if this guy would come back or not, and like they weren't sure. It was like I come to camp if he doesn't, I'm staying. If not, then I'm gone. Quad City, I was kind of more guaranteed slotted like the number two, but it'd be strictly just a number two all year. Like there was no chance to really start and stuff. So um and the coach was honest with me, and I really appreciated that. And so for me, like I was gonna go with the Quad City one because I'm like, I just want to make the league, right? So I'm like thinking about that, and I remember my wife telling me she's like, "Hey, we're not just doing this to kind of like be safe. We're doing this like what you think would be best for your hockey career, and like what's going to help you pursue this hockey, and also what God wants you to do." So I like that really kind of changed my perspective, and me and my wife would pray about it, and I remember about I was the day I had to make a decision, I still didn't know. Like, I still was, like, back and forth, and then I remember I was praying that morning, reading, and, like, just not reading around, I just continued reading where I was reading previously, and it came to the parable about the talents, and, the 3 servants that, um, one got 10 talents, he ended up doubling it, and the master said, "Good well done, good and faithful servant, what you've done with what I've given you." And then the second servant had 5 talents, he doubled it as well. And then the third servant got 1 talent, and he buried it in the ground, hid it, and he said, "You," and he was scared of, like, if he had lost that talent, what the master would do to him. And that he kinda got in trouble for that because it wasn't what God wanted him to do, and he didn't have faith that God could, bless him with that. So that really, like, for whatever reason, I just felt like God was telling me, like, right then and there, like, "Trust me, like, don't go off what you see, like, I'm giving you an opportunity, like, I can bless it and take care of you." So, I end up just choosing to go with the less solidified option because I knew that God could bless it, and I think he was leaning on me to go that, not bury my talent that he's given me. And, So I ended up going to Knoxville, and it was awesome. Did really well in camp, and then first exhibition game got a shutout against one of the top teams, and did really well, and ended up making the team. So things were going really well. I just had a really hot start to the season. Then there was one game I had let in 7. It was just one of those games where they kind of dominated us, and hard place to play. And then I didn't play for like a month, and then finally got back in and got a big win. And then so I would just kind of I was doing really well, and then getting more playing time. And then me and my goalie partner, we ended up getting a call up to the East Coast League. So if like I was wanting to stay in Knoxville for the year, like I just was happy to be up again. I wasn't planning on taking any call ups at all, and then I got a call up, and it was to get I was going to get a game as well, which is like our team in Knoxville, we were on a bit of a losing streak, and my goalie partner had just earlier that morning took a call up, and then we had a 3-3 against like two of the top teams in the league. So I remember telling my coach like, "Hey, like I'll stay. Like my loyalty's here. I know we're in a tough position right now. I don't want to leave you with a call up." And he said, "My coach Johnny, there, he's unbelievable. So much respect for him, and he gave me an opportunity this season that no one else really would." And he just said like to me, he's like, "If you're getting a game, you gotta go, Taylor. Like you gotta go." Like and like I huge respect for him because for him he's losing both his guys, and we were on a losing streak. So it was really nice of him, and ended up going up and had a good week in Norfolk. The game I got in didn't go as planned. I like ended up getting yanked after I think 3 shots, 2 goals, like just power play goal and then a breakaway,
Mhm.
kind of like just out of my control. And I
That's
remember
tough.
just being so disappointed because I
Yeah.
finally get the shot, like, and then it goes like that. But then the coach there was like, "Hey Taylor, like this game doesn't define you. Like we
Yeah.
kind of let you out to dry. You know what, like you're a good goalie. Like if we have an opportunity here, I'll let you know next year. If not, like I will be a reference for you for camp."
Mhm.
So like it went still went well. God had a plan in that too. Was able to
Always does.
share faith with guys there for a week that I was with, and met a good Christian guy that was going through something that I had previously went through with in the past, and so I was able to kind of help him out there. So I was there for a reason. And then back to Knoxville. The cool thing about Knoxville is there's a couple guys that gave their life to Christ a week before I end up leaving Knoxville. So I end up going to call up. Guy gives his life to Christ a few weeks. One of my good buddies at Moe's restaurant, and yeah, it was just amazing. Like we are in tears, like just hugging each other, and then a week before I get back to from my call up in Norfolk and back to Knoxville, I end up getting traded. They needed to score. The team I got traded to needed a goalie. So I get traded, and like a week before I left, another guy had given their life to Christ. So it was like just the timing of how God works. And
He's so
then
good. Yep.
yeah, yeah, end up getting traded to Huntsville. Like I'm excited because they're a top 2 team. I'm like, oh, maybe we're gonna win. Like this
Yeah.
is maybe like what God's setting up. Um, Went there, did well, was there a month, and then one of my good buddies was on a call up from that team. He was a call up the East Coast League. He wasn't supposed to be back that year for the rest of the year, and that's why I think the team had traded for me. And then like 2 weeks before playoff starting, he calls me. He's like, "Hey Taylor, like I got let go, and no one in the East Coast leagues picked me up." So he's like, "I'm on my way back." So I was just like, "Oh great, like I'm the odd man out, right?" And I was a little bit worried, and I knew God had the plan. I've just learned to kind of trust him, surrender. So I remember he comes back, I get let go. My wife is now just flown down back because she had to tag up, so she's like in the middle of like, what are we? Where are we going? Like, what's happening? Um, so I remember praying and fasting one night, like where I had to kind of figure out what I was doing. And I was looking to go back to Knoxville. I was having talks with the coach there, and that was a possibility. But then I woke up the next morning. I didn't have peace about that necessarily, but I was just trying to find somewhere to play. And then I prayed and fasted that night, and the next morning woke up to a text from Evansville, and the coach was like, "Hey Taylor, like our goalie took a call up. Don't know how long it's going to be for, but um, we'd really like to have you." And for whatever reason, just felt peace and went with it. So went to Evansville. The team was a bit of a losing streak. We ended up playing my old team, not Knoxville, but Huntsville that next weekend. So I was back in Huntsville. We got swept by Huntsville, and then we go back to Sunday to end of 3-3 playing Peoria, which is the top team in the league, and we're on a bit of a losing streak and end up playing, and we end up winning 3-2 in overtime. Played a great game. God blessed me with a great game, and ended up winning, and it was a big win for us, and just to get out of the losing streak before playoffs as well. And then for playoffs, I wasn't playing, but my goalie partner was phenomenal. Like, yeah, I think he got MVP of playoffs. He had like 967 save percentage, played well. And then our team just got hot in the right moment. We end up playing Huntsville first round, which was one of my old teams. Lost first game in overtime, then beat them 2 straight games. And then we play Peoria, the top team league, sweep them. And then guess who we meet in the final? Knoxville, my old team that I
Yeah.
was with all year. So we're in the
only
finals.
only could be Knoxville because of the way this story is being
Yeah,
written. Yeah.
exactly. So like we were the sixth and seventh seed, so like no one thought of us making it. I remember my wife told me like that told her, she said when we got to Evansville, I told her, I don't really remember this, but she's like, you told me that like how funny would it be if we end up playing Knoxville in the final and beat them. So and I think I must have said that jokingly because I just didn't see
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
happening. And but yeah, our team got hot. Like the guys were gelling. We just were on a mission. Not too high, not too low. And we ended up playing Knoxville in the final. For game one, we're back in Knoxville. I'm kind of getting ripped by the fans and warm up,
Yeah.
whatever. It's part of like I love the fans there in Knoxville. They're amazing people. And um but yeah, like we end up winning in overtime that game, like double overtime, I think it was. And then we come back the next night for a game in Evansville, and we just knew that was the night. And then we end up, we're up 1-0 with like 10 minutes left in the third, I believe it was. One of the guys that committed his life to Christ in Knoxville ended up scoring the tying goal. And so like it's 1-1 going into overtime, and then I think like 6 minutes in overtime, we end it with a goal, and it was just the best thing I've ever experienced. And yeah, it was pretty neat. At the same time, it was we won at home. It's amazing. We're celebrating, but like I'd known those Knoxville guys just as good, if not better, than the guys I was with in Evansville. So just seeing, I knew what they'd been through all year, the ups and downs, starting off hot, the losing streak, and like just for them to get there as well after all they'd been through just shows a lot about who those guys are in that room and the coach and what he's about, the coaches and stuff. And it was just like I remember, like just hugging them like almost in tears. Like it wasn't tears, like during the handshake lineup, and just because you care about those guys so much and you know what they've been through and what they had to do to get there, and the devastation I know they're feeling. And I get to my coach and he's just smiling at me, like my old coach Knox, really smiling at me. He's like, couldn't have written a better script, and
Yeah.
he just kind of joked around. He's like, I'm gonna have to start coming to church with you, and
Yeah. I
so
love
it
that.
was just a cool experience. And
Yeah.
as we were celebrating on the ice, I was able to go to the Knoxville guys to their room quick, just gave a couple Bibles away
Mm.
to a couple guys that I knew wanted them, and was able to get one for my coach. And yeah, it was the sweetest thing. At the same time, my heart felt
Yeah.
I just felt so bad for those guys in Knoxville because I knew what they'd been through, and I loved
Hmm.
all those guys. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was bittersweet, but it just like from where God has taken me from where I was to now,
Yeah.
just incredible. And there's opportunities for me for this upcoming season that I'm extremely excited about, and so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah. Well, God is so good. I mean, for you to have the season you had, getting traded, moved around, call up, sent back down,
Mm.
traded, and to have the season end with you being able to hoist the trophy over your head because you guys win the
Yeah,
championship is it's a movie. And so
yeah,
what I love, and so appreciative is that, as you're sharing your whole journey, and obviously there's so many nuances that we didn't cover, but as you're kind of giving us the umbrella, what the big takeaway is this: God always has a plan for your life. Every opportunity is something that you can lean into to see what God's going to do in it, regardless of how it may look to you. You have kind of been all over the place, but always took it as a mission field. And there is a long list of guys who you have impacted where they have put their faith in Jesus. They have gotten baptized. They have started to experience this fire for their faith. And so that is a byproduct of you just allowing God to use you in every season that you're in. And I think that's going to be a perfect segue into our mini chapel. So we're going to head into that next segment. If you have your Bible, go ahead and grab it. And we are going to be in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 7. So we'll see you there. All right, so welcome to our mini chapel segment. We are going to be in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 7. This is a passage of scripture. When I had asked Taylor, hey, is there a chunk of scripture that you've been leaning on to? This is immediately what he went to. Not only did he go to it, he has it memorized, and I'm going to be working on it this week to memorize it myself. But I want to read it, and then the two of us are just going to be talking about what it is that God is showing us from these three verses. So it says, starting in the 5th verse, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. All right, so Taylor, what is it about these three verses that are so near and dear to your heart?
I think I've had different verses over the years that have kind of helped me with where I think God had me at that time, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I think Joshua 1:9 used when I was younger, and it's something I still hold near and dear to my heart. It's tattooed on my chest here. Um, and that's what having a command you be stronger, courageous, do not be afraid, and not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Um, and then another one was Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have, he says, Lord, plans to prosper you, not harm you, give you hope in the future. And then I think in like when I was really going through the tough times and after getting hit by the drunk driver, like my first few years of university when I transferred didn't go great. Wasn't getting much opportunity. And I just remember like my chaplain in North Bay, Gord, he just really this verse is something he always pointed me to whenever I was going through a tough time. And then over this my first few years of pro, it's like when you break it down, it's pretty phenomenal because
Yeah,
it works
it
when
does.
you do apply it,
It
right?
does.
And like trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. I think like there was so many times in my story or my life that like you look at the situation, you're like, what is this? Like, no, like this isn't gonna work. Like,
Yeah.
and
This
but
is
it's
not my
I'm looking
plan.
through my no, this isn't my plan. And I think but you're looking at through an earthly lens, like
Mhm.
God sees everything and he knows exactly where we're supposed to be. And I think the biggest key with this verse that ties into it is just surrendering. Um you have to surrender everything, your life, your career, your job, your the sport you play, your marriage, your raising your family. You have to surrender it to God. You have to be the best that you can, that you and depend on him, but also surrender it and trust him. So trust the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on what you see or what you think the outcome should be or what it is, because often it's not. It's just what we're feeding ourselves when God knows the ultimate answer. And then to continue that, in all your ways acknowledge him. So I'm whenever I make a decision, whether it's a team, like there's three teams or two teams that I'm looking to go to, or the options, or like trying to figure out what the next steps are, I always bring him into it, acknowledge him, and ask him. Keep him involved. Everything, even if I'm phoning a coach or doing something, I'll always talk to him about it first and be like, "Thank you. Shut this door if you want to shut. Open it if you want it open." Because I want at the end of the day, I've learned I want what he wants for me, not what I want for myself,
That's so
because
good.
he knows best.
Well, that's the
He knows
cheat code.
best. So
That's the cheat code because he does know best. And as we're looking at these three verses, as I'm reading them, I'm just seeing your life as like a movie in front of me
yeah,
where you have all of these plans that you want, but God always has something that's better for you, but it's also different than what you would have planned.
yeah.
And I'm
It
living that
doesn't look better.
myself. It
Yeah,
exactly. It doesn't look better. In a way, it almost doesn't even make sense. And I think as I've learned
yeah,
in my own journey, and for anybody who's watching or listening, the takeaway here is this: when it's a God thing, there's going to be a peace that surpasses understanding, even if it doesn't look like it's the right thing or it doesn't seem to make sense from a worldly perspective. And so many
Yeah.
people will get hung up on that. If the optics don't look
Yeah.
good, they won't do it. They won't
It's
trust
the,
God.
and yeah.
They won't take that step of faith. They won't say, "You know what? I'm going to surrender my will to you." People will white knuckle it and hold on to for dear life to their plans and the things that they want. And God operates in obedience. When you're obedient to God and you trust him and you surrender, that's when he moves in ways that you never thought he could. And I'm just again thinking about your story and just your career where every time you surrender, it wasn't what you thought it was going to be, and you are contributing and you are making an impact on the ice, but from a spiritual sense, the impact that you have made every place you have gone is a direct byproduct of these verses right here. God, I trust you. I trust your plans. I trust your ways. I'm going
Yeah.
to acknowledge you and step into every opportunity that you give me to impact those around me. So it's so good. And it's the cheat
Yeah.
code to living a fulfilled and blessed life.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like you understand that like I've heard stories of people that where they've had two job offers or they had a they have a okay job, like pays the bills, whatever, but then they get this huge job opportunity that's
Mm,
like too good to be true. Or it's like a huge substantial raise, but they don't have peace about it and they stay or they take the other job and then like they realize a month later that other company had a bunch of layoffs and like no, so like there's so many like he'll speak to you if he'll put it on your heart and he'll let you know. And I've had times where like with hockey it looks amazing and like you're like, oh, this is gotta work out, this is what God has to have for me, but then like it doesn't happen the way you necessarily thought it would or should, but it happened for a reason. And like I've had those feelings where like I thought, you know what, like okay, like this looks good, but I have to take a step back and just trust what God's telling me in that moment. So that's a big one. And then just to finish it off, he will make your path straight. Like it's an I with Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, it's in order. Like I truly believe like you have to trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. Next is acknowledge Him in all your ways, and then he will direct your paths. He's not going to direct your paths if you don't trust in him and with all your heart and not right. It's all in order. There's a reason that it's said in that way, right? So I truly believe that like if you just surrender, trust in the Lord, surrender, give it to him, acknowledge him, keep him involved in what you're in your day to day. Every decision I make, I try to involve him and go to him first with it and present it to him and see and just listen to him, like really listen, like sit with it and be still, and then trust the direction he's giving you and don't look back. I truly believe like if you get to a fork in the road, and I've seen this in my life, and if you get to a fork in the road and one way might completely change the aspect of your life, one way might, but they're both like look okay. I truly believe if you put God first in it and and give like put him first, that either way you go, he'll bless it if you put him first and allow him to be there in that situation. Because sometimes he's gonna make it's not gonna be a clear decision. Like with me in the Knoxville situation, it wasn't a clear situation for me to either go to Knoxville or Quad City. It was just trusting him, I leaning on what you think he wanted for you at the time. But like I truly believe if I went to Quad City, I think he would have blessed it too, just because I did put him first. But like he did, I feel directly telling me to go to Knoxville at that time.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's he'll direct you and he'll take care of you.
Yep. It's so good. It's a recipe that is only two ingredients because it's two scriptures here.
Mhm.
But when you apply it to your
Yeah,
life, you're going to experience fruit that you never thought was possible. So, Taylor,
yeah,
thank you for this mini chapel. And the challenge for me and anybody listening and watching this week, memorize Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 7. And then don't just memorize it, be about it, apply it to your life, surrender, and watch what God is going to do. We're going to segue into
I
our
forgot about
next.
7. I forgot about 7.
Oh, we did
Wait,
forget
this
about
one's
7.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
well,
forgot about 7. This
we'll hit
one's
it.
here, give me one second. I'm just gonna
You
So
want
do
you want me
not
to
be
read it
wise
again?
in your own eyes. Sorry, yeah, go ahead if you
Okay.
can, if you want. But
No, go ahead.
yes, okay. So verse 7: do not be wise in your own eyes, fear the Lord and shun evil. So I think like partly of that is like not being wise in your own eyes is like not looking through an earthly lens
Mhm.
and thinking there's so many times in my career that like if I looked at it through like an earthly lens, worldly lens, I'd be like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't do this. This is like self-sabotage
Yeah.
almost. So
Yeah.
so I think like you gotta really just surrender and trust him and not look through it in your own eyes. And then obviously fear the Lord and shun evil, like just righteousness, right? Like
Mhm.
we're not perfect. No one is. I'll never
Yeah.
be perfect. I messed up every day, but that's why Jesus came and died on the cross for me, and doesn't give me a free ticket to do what I want. It's I want to because of what he did on the cross for me. I want to do the best I can for him and lead people to him. So
Yeah.
won't get it right all the time, trust me. But it's something I strive for every day. So
Yeah. Absolutely. That's so good. And as you were sharing that, what I was thinking of is people forget that the enemy, Satan himself, can offer you opportunities too. And
mhm.
he's
Yep.
constantly and so like that seventh verse there, be not wise in your own eyes, fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It's only when you fear the Lord that you're able to turn away from evil. And that as you
Mhm.
kind of work these verses backwards, it's, you're acknowledging God in all of your ways. And because you acknowledge him, he'll make your path straight, which again will make sure that you're not biting into that fruit that the enemy's dangling in front of you, saying like, this looks great, doesn't it? This is going to change your life for the better. God is holding something against you. This is the opportunity you got to step into. And then it then goes back to just trust God with all your heart and know that he's going to do what only he can do in your life. So
Yeah.
good. So good. These three verses, man, if you just read them and apply them to
Mhm.
everyday decisions, whether it's big or
Yeah.
small,
Everything.
you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. So for our Kingdom Athletes community, the next segment is going to be Taylor sharing his golden nugget of advice to the next generation of athletes. So make sure to tune in. All right, we are in our golden nugget segment with Taylor. He is going to share his one piece of advice for other athletes and the younger generations when it comes to sports and faith. So Taylor, what is your golden nugget?
I think if anybody can get anything out of this today, I think the biggest thing, if you're a young athlete trying to make it, whether it's university, pro, whatever you want to do, I think got a couple nuggets. The first one is surrender. You have to surrender. As if you're gonna go through things that don't make sense, that you think is hurting your chances. And I think you have to surrender. You have to trust God that He's in control. Yeah, is what's best for you. I think like throughout my whole hockey career, I've always had to surrender, and like it didn't look always good. Like we didn't even get into my minor hockey stuff. Like there was some crazy stuff I went through with that, but I always just you have to surrender, and He'll make a way. Um, and then I think the second part that surrendering, being still, but then also that like your identity isn't wrapped up in being a hockey player. Like I'm a child of God, and the Lord has blessed me with the ability to play hockey at a high level. And, the best thing I ever heard, I think the shift for me was during COVID. I Everything was about me and what I could get out of hockey, how I could go as far as I could, how I could whatever, and there's NHL or bust, like, right? Um, and then I think what during COVID, I was researching a lot, like, had a passion for the game again that came back, and I just remember, reading, well, I was looking to possibly quit hockey and because I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. Like I wasn't getting an opportunity. And then I remember I was praying about it, asking God, like, do you want me to be done? Do you want me to keep going? And then I remember I literally put my Bible down, finished reading and praying about it. I used to always watch the NHL highlights before I'd go to bed. And I remember the first game I put on, it's Colorado Avalanche versus I forget who they're playing, but like the goalie who started, it was his first NHL game, and it was like during our junior days. It was me and him were number one, number two in Canada, and like we were talking the same schools. Like I was going to go to the school he went to, and possibly as well that before I got hurt and everything. and just kind of lit that fire like right then, like just an answer to prayer because like it kind of motivated me. Like I was there. I've been able to do that. He's doing it. Like I can do it. And then a year later, I got the American League of Hockey opportunity. Right. So if I would have quit right there, I would have never had the experiences we're talking about now. And so I think just being still, surrendering, and then also like during COVID, watching Shane Doan's retirement speech. Like the biggest thing that made the switch for me is that it's not about what I can get out of the game. It's God has blessed me with the ability to play. Hockey's my missions field, and yes, I want to go as far as I can and play at the highest level and achieve whatever I can, Lord willing. And but the key is like it's not about me; it's about the lives I can impact for Him. So I think Shane Donut said it like he said it was never about him, like playing in the NHL. Like it was never about him. It was how he could be an example of Christ to the people he was interacting with. I think for a young athlete, like you have to surrender. You have to be still in moments sometimes when it doesn't make sense and just trust the Lord. And even if it doesn't make sense, you got to trust and go with it. And I think the third thing is just like your identity is not wrapped up in being a hockey player. Like you're a child of God. He's given you the ability to play the game. Hockey for all of us, like Christ wants us to make disciples of many. Um, so wherever you are, wherever God's put you, there's a reason for it. And if you intentionally look, there's a lot of those opportunities with the chapel programs with like leading some of these guys to Christ wouldn't have happened if I wasn't obedient to God. Because there's so many times that like I would put my heart to share my faith with somebody in a hotel room on the road or something, and like I feel nervous about it or like how to bring it up, whatever. If I wasn't obedient, maybe that guy's not hasn't accepted made the most important decision of his life, right? So you have to be obedient and you have to put yourself out there. Like guys, if you're like, I'll never be pushy. If someone doesn't want to talk about it, that's totally fine. Like I just look for opportunities where guys do want to talk about it, and like if they're willing and open and want to hear about it, I'll share it all day. So I think that's the big thing is like just trust God to put you wherever you are for a reason, not just for your hockey. That will work itself out, but like on a spiritual side, like He has you with certain people in this time of life for a reason. So God and like our job is to share what Christ has done for us. So that's I think a big key takeaway is He can use you wherever spiritually and for hockey. And I play, it's for an audience of one. It's to give God glory. And when I take a knee at the end of a game, it's to glorify Him and win or lose, right? So I just hope that can resonate with some people and encourage them.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. That listen, you gave a four piece. That wasn't a golden nugget. That
Yeah,
was a
sorry,
four
that's it.
piece. No,
Yeah,
listen,
sorry, that's why
you don't have to
I went off. I
apologize.
went off.
You're as you're going,
Yeah,
I'm like, man, that's four for the price of one. I love it. That's man, so good. Surrender, identity in Jesus, not the sport you play. Every opportunity, as long as you're putting God first, He's gonna use you. And then make disciples everywhere you go. That right
yeah.
there, not only is that a golden nugget, my friend, that summarizes you and who you are. Thank you for being the blessing that you are. Thank you for being on the Kingdom Athletes podcast. This is your first time. It certainly will not be your last. But until next time, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you having me on.